At some point, the sky falls. Human experience practically guarantees that we will face a sudden blow to our health, our finances, or our relationships. When that happens, the immediate psychological weight is heavy. A crisis strips away our security, leaving behind a sharp sense of loss. The pain of a lost job or a medical diagnosis is an undeniable fact. This trauma is a physical and emotional reality that stays. We will all face these events. The test is not in avoiding the disaster, but in how the mind handles that weight once it lands. One common path is despair. The gravity of the event pins a person down, making any movement feel impossible. The other path is delusion. This is the instinct to apply toxic positivity, forcing a smile while trying to ignore the source of the pain. Pretending a broken leg or an empty bank account is actually a gift doesn't change the physics of the situation. The disaster remains. We need a way to look at brutal facts without losing the ability to move, finding a way to gain ground despite the damage. This is where mental reframing works. It bypasses the choice between lying to yourself and giving up. Reframing is a functional mental tool. It is an active process used to translate a situation into something useful. The process starts with total acceptance. You acknowledge the suffering as a concrete fact of your current life. The mind acts as a processor. It takes the jagged edges of disaster and shapes them into structured output. This requires 3 actions: pausing the emotional reflex, documenting facts, and identifying application. The brain calculates practical utility, asking, "What can I do with this?" The disaster isn't ignored. Its specific details provide the raw material for the entire conversion. Reframing follows a simple rule: never let a crisis go to waste. Even during a highly traumatic event, you can scan the environment for resources that might still be completely intact. These assets are often hidden. They might take the form of a lesson in resilience or a sudden clarity about what is actually important. As you identify these facts, you begin to pull functional data out of the wreckage. Locating even one useful element provides a foothold. It gives the mind a task to perform, which starts to replace the feeling of being a passive observer. The disaster and the suffering it brings become the exact materials you need to build a strategic advantage. We cannot choose when or how a crisis arrives. We do choose the utility we pull from it. That part of the equation remains under our control. By choosing that utility, you become an architect of your own experience. The event happened to you, but the result is something you built. Through this lens, suffering changes. It becomes an actionable resource. Mental reframing allows us to move beyond survival. We take the disaster and use it to build a better position.